Hey, what's up, everybody? It's David Draftbit, and we've made some more upgrades to blocks, so I'm going to show you what's new there. Switching over to blocks, I've got this one block here, call to action, and clicking on the root component here. If I switch over to the right side in the data panel, you can see I have several props configured here. But what we've done is we've created prop types. So now you can assign different types to your props. There's data is going to be the same as it was originally. So when there was just a plain old prop that you could pass, which would be data. So like a string, maybe some JSON or something, a number, that will be data. So this is how the previous prop worked. The next one is going to be workflow. So in this case, you'll be able to select an actual action workflow to pass into your block. For asset and icon, both of these, you'll be able to open up the asset picker or the icon picker to pass in a value for that prop. On this card here, I've got basically one of each. I have a title here and a default value, subtitle with a default value. I have an icon with a default icon selected, and feature image as well. I have a default image there in the background. And then this is my call to action, which is going to be what I can use to pass in a function or an action workflow into this block. Let me show you a little bit how it works. I've got, like I said, all these default values now. And so my block will have access to these variables within the different components. And I can show you for this image background, you can see I'm referencing that feature image prop that I was setting here on the block. And then for the text here, I've got a variable and I'm passing in that value, block property title. And same thing here for the subtitle, doing the same thing. And then on my button, I'm using the icon that I'm passing in as that block property. And then over on the on press trigger, if I click into that, you can see I'm running a custom function, and this custom function is actually running whatever we pass into this block to that call to action. So you can see here for my custom function, I've actually selected that callback prop, which is that call to action workflow prop up here. So hopefully that makes sense and you're sticking with me. Basically, we're going to be able to have a function or a workflow on a screen, pass it down into the block, and then have the block execute whatever it is that we want. And obviously I can switch back here. You can combine this with any other actions that you want, but anytime you're going to run that custom function or the workflow, you're going to want to pass it to run a custom function action. But other than that, you're free to use any other of these actions inside your block. Okay, so now let's check out how we can use it. If I switch back over here, one of my screens, on this screen one, so I have an instance of that call to action. I opened up the block selector here and just clicked on call to action. That added it to my screen. And then over on the right side, here's my data inputs for this block. And all of these correspond to those block props that we created. Feature image, icon, subtitle, title. And you can see I've assigned new values to all these things. If you'll notice, I gave it a new icon here. So I clicked here, found a new right icon, selected that, gave it a subtitle, title. I was able to open up this asset picker and choose a new image for my feature image. And then here, since I don't have any functions set up in my app, there's nothing to pass to it. But if I switch over to the interactions tab now, we've got this call to action here. That prop, the workflow prop that we created now is basically acting like a trigger for your block. And here we can do whatever we want. In this case, I'm navigating to screen 2. But anything that you pass in there will be called by your function or by your block. So on this screen here, if I click on it, Now I've been taken to screen 2, and I'm going to switch over to screen 2 and show you that block now. So this is the same block, right? We've only got one block in our app, or I only have one block in my app. I'm using another instance of that, and here again I've got all the same data inputs, except this time I've chosen a different background image. I've chosen a different icon you can see here on the right, and it's got a different title and subtitle. And then also for my action, call to action here, if I open that up, you can see it's totally different. So in this case, I'm just showing an alert. And if we start out on screen 1, here's the first instance of our block. I click through, I'm on screen 2 now. This is using the same block in the background, but we've configured it to be customized using those props. And so if I click on it now, you'll see, get that alert. Lots of cool things that you can do there now. And of course, like blocks, because you're using one instance of a block, if you wanted to make some changes, like you wanted to update this background here so that it's not light, it's dark, I could just choose darken here, update my block, and then when I switch back to my screens, this one's updated and this one's updated as well. All right, that's a quick look at the new block props, and I'll see you in the next video.